Natalie here earlier that one thing I should mention, another thing to help keep your CPA happy is maybe to bring them some cookies, take them out to lunch. There you go, peanut Snickers, those are my two favorites. So, another question we get a lot is record retention. How long should I keep my tax returns? How long should I keep my backup data? So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about that while we have some time. Most of you may know that the statute of limitations for the IRS to audit you is, the general rule is 3 years. They can go back and audit you. However, they potentially could expand that to 6 years if there's something major missing. Now, if it's something illegal or fraudulent, they can go back to here to eternity. But general rule is 3 years. However, they could potentially, I've never seen it expanded to 6 years, but they potentially can if it's the actual test, if it's over 25% of your income that was missing, they could go back further. So some specifically, legal documents you should keep forever. I think that goes without saying. House purchase, land documents, things like that. Tax returns or tax documents, again, a minimum of 3 years, because that's how the IRS can go back in general rule. But we recommend 6 years. Go back. Some other things you see listed there. Bank statements, 3 years. Utilities and phone, those monthly bills, just 1 year. I don't keep them a month personally, but we recommend 1 year. Medical and insurance documents. The reason why that's longer is because the insurance companies can audit you, your insurance claim. They can go back and audit you similar to the IRS can audit you. So, and again, I recommend scanning your documents. With the technology, everybody has computers at home, scanners, equipment's pretty expensive. There's that software, different software programs out there that you can scan and organizes it for you. And again, those receipts fade. And so I would recommend, especially if you're self-employed or something like that, and you have a lot of expenses that you need to keep track of, that you have some kind of process to scan those and keep that. Not only that, it helps clear up your storage space. Because that's people call and say, I don't have any more room to store the stuff. What can I throw away? And some people it's hard. The pack rats out there, orders, to make it really hard to throw anything away. But if you scan things, you have that, it is acceptable, those digital copies. So, by the way, a check does not count as a receipt from the IRS's standpoint. You just have a canceled check. That's not good enough. So they want to see the actual, The visa statement is the next best thing. They really want to see an actual invoice, ideally. But they do accept bank statements. What they like to, or credit card statements. What they do though, they take a sample. If you can have some that support it, then they're okay with that. You have a question?
I'm real bad about keeping up with receipts, but I do keep up with my bank statements that I run almost all my business expenses through. Is that acceptable?
What I've seen the IRS do is they'll look at your bank statements, or they'll look at your QuickBooks printout or something like that, and they'll look at the detail, and then they say, I want to see that receipt. That's $1,000 for a computer purchase or something. And usually it's bigger items. And if you can come up with those, then they don't worry about the other little things. So they kind of do a sampling. So what they do. So the major things you want to keep
the big stuff
sure.
Keep up with. Okay.
Yeah, they're not going to nickel and dime you, so they'll kind of look through and do a sample of different things, especially things that are potentially personal versus business use, things that can go both ways. Like electronics is a good example.
Well, and one thing, I buy a lot of materials from a contractor, so like, if I go to Lowe's, and usually my purchases are big, I have a big, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 purchase, in which I do have all that, but sometimes I go and do, $75 for 2 cans of paint or something like that. Is that something that I'm not very good at keeping up with those smaller receipts. Is that, or what?
It would be very surprising if that became an issue.
Okay.
If you had the bigger ones and you display some of the little ones, they'll be fine.
Okay.
Any other questions? Good questions. Few things that tax items for this year and next year, since it's 2012 now, some of the things are too late to do anything about. But just some things that may be of interest. First of all, tax due date extended to April 17th, which is, we always love it when they extend tax season. Not only is it the 17th, it's a leap year, right? So we got 3 extra days of tax season this year, so that's exciting for us. If you make estimated payments, the fourth quarter is due the 17th, January coming up. And these are the dates for next year. Oops, stock sales, we mentioned the brokerage firms now required to issue the basis in that new form, so I didn't mention that already. Business mileage rate, we get calls for that a lot. What are the business mileage rate? And last year, and I hate when they do this, it changed it during the middle of the year. So it started out at 51 and they raised it because the gas prices, even though they've stayed up mainly, they still have a lot of fluctuation. And so they went, it's because it was up again, they raised it back from 51 up to 55. And that's what it is now, still for this year, 55 and a half. Now if you kept your records like you're supposed to, you would have the specific before and after that break off, but what do most people do? Here's my miles for the year, we'll just split it 50-50 for the year. Some other items. Given the mileage rate for this year, 2012 is 55.5, and then some other mileage for moving and medical and charitable purposes. Payroll tax cut, you may be aware that they reduced the Social Security, at least the employee side, 2% last year. So even if you did nothing on your W-4 and you didn't get a pay raise or anything like that, your paycheck should have went up slightly because they withheld less of that Social Security. They extended that through February 29th. So if you do payroll, make sure your software is doing it right, or check your stuff to make sure it's still doing it right, at least till then. I don't know if they're going to extend it any further.
Kevin,
Those of you that make a lot of money, there's the increase in Social Security wage base. Yes, sir.
the 14 cents per mile for charitable purposes,
Yes.
what can you include in that, what can you not? Like, I'm presuming you cannot include Sunday morning going to church.
That's correct. Some of you may volunteer or have a position with the church that you use your vehicle for to run errands or to transport youth or something like that. That would qualify. You know, if you take an aggressive position, if you have an assignment that's dealing with your position on Sunday, you could potentially deduct going to church and back. That would be an aggressive position. I would take it personally. But if you're just going to church, no. But if you were a pastor, I would. You know, that, for example, or if you were even a Sunday school teacher, potentially. Or on the deacon's board, if you had a meeting that day, you stayed after and had a meeting. But any running errands, transporting, things like that, then that would qualify.